stories across different Nigerian newspapers this morning. My name is Esther Laribe, and I have with me Adenike Quadri. How are you doing, Adenike? Good morning. Welcome to the Newspaper Review family. Good morning.
I'm doing superbly great. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us this morning.
Thank you, Esther.
Yes. All right. This is the Newspaper Review on Women Radio 91.7, Nigeria's first and only radio station for women and their families. And we are unapologetically for women and women too for women's development and your most reliable and leading source for information. You're welcome to join us on the Newspaper Review. Send us your comments. Send us your contributions on 070-317-56537. 070-317-56537. My people, how una day? How hope you're holding up tight, hope you're keeping hope alive, hope you're keeping up the positive energy, because I have to take care of yourself to be able to give out anything at all. You have to be able to take care of yourself properly, because it is what you have you give. You cannot give what you don't have. I didn't care.
Yeah, that's very true.
You can't give from what is empty.
It is first in, then out.
You get it. So you have to have something. You need to have the content before you're able to give out anything. All right, let's go over the headlines making the round this morning, and I'll be starting off with the Punch. On the Punch newspapers, comply with Lagos physical planning law, agency tells resident. 68% of respondents says Nigeria insecure from a poll. Zamfara bandits Miss S-Palm secretary target abduct 4 daughters. So now if they no see papa, now they carry children since they happen. APC presidential ticket, Adamo's consensus plot fails. 21 aspirants in battle royale. Our massacre survivors, victims, families grown as Khan NGF protest. On the Vanguard newspapers, APC convention, Court of Appeal stops National Assembly from imposing statutory delegates. Children living with sickle cell disease do live beyond the age of 20, says Akinshete. Investors remain resilient despite economic constraints. This one is coming in from Man. I regret nominating Osibanjo to work with Tinubu, says Bayo Ononiga. Government must invest in health and subsidize treatment for critically ill Nigerians. This one is coming from Tamara Kuro. On the Guardian newspapers, Abia traders endorse Ipazu senatorial ambition. Army to engage retired personnel in anti-terrorism war. No one individual responsible for Buhari's emergence. Presidency replies Tinubu. Expert warn against poor food handling, dangerous preservatives. Our killings, Pope Osibanjo, Sultan Oni, others mourn as police recover 3 unexploded IEDs. On the Nation newspapers, police give 64 million naira to disease operatives' families. Boko Haram abduct travelers on Maiduguri Road. Cleric, 14 others held over blasphemy murder. Robbers attack Abuja politician's house. So they go to the house now. Our church attack. Governors condemn attack. Presidential ticket, Buhari disowns Adamu over Lawan. On the This Day newspapers, NAS moved to settle judges' poor salary suits out of court. Sultan, Archbishop of Canterbury, condemned terrorist attack on our church, says it is a crime against humanity. Atiku slams APC, says ruling party dying in Abuja while innocent worshippers died in Owo. On the Daily Trust newspapers, 95% shareholders unknown as Nigeria Air gets air transport license. Immunization, Nigeria among top countries with 0 dose children. Sports Ministry bans club sites from MKO Abiola Stadium. In Lagos, Banky W wins again as PDP rerun primaries drag. YPP gets governorship candidates in Benue State. APC convention, appeal court stops National Assembly from enforcing law on statutory delegates. Finally, on the pen pushing newspapers, a group initiates meetings with stakeholders to address the killings and attacks in Yoruba land. And these are the headlines making the round this morning across different Nigerian newspapers. Do well to send us your comments, your contributions on 070-317-56537. Adenike, which of these headlines catches your eye? Because I look at some of them, I'm like, really, is this where we are? Because this particular one here, where they go to kidnap somebody, Zamfara bandits miss ex-Palm secretary target abduct 4 daughters. So what this one is saying now is, if they find you come, they no see you, they fit carry your pikin. And from the story, the full story, they went to his house, they could not find the man.
And
They
then
picked up his 4 daughters and his 2 wives, but the wives could not trek all the way. So somewhere along the line, they probably just dropped them off and went on with the 4 daughters. So now, if they no see you, your children too. It is quite sad how we live in so much fear. People just want to do what they can because they live in the fear of the unknown. I don't know who it will be next.
yeah, very true. And interesting enough, the same headline caught my attention that for crying out loud, these girls are innocent and only God knows what will be done to them, just as they've been taken away. And whatever the issue was that brought them looking for this man, it just goes to say that for everything we do as individuals, we should always think of posterity. And he would never have thought that they would come to his house, maybe. And then maybe when he wasn't around, they had to probably take his children or something. So it's just so many surprises every day.
But let's not forget
in
that
Nigeria, here and there.
Let's not forget that these days you don't have to do anything. You don't have to be a bad person.
No, this one you would see that there was an intent, and if you read through that story,
Yes, they went exactly to his house.
they went straight to his house, not even to any other place in the whole village. Straight to his house, and when they didn't see who they came to look for,
They had to pick someone else.
they had to pick someone that would really touch his heart.
Definitely. I mean, you find me come, carry me with that now. See, it's just really, really sad. It's really, really sad. This is the newspaper review on Women Radio 91.7 on. My name is Esther Olaribi, and I have our analyst for the morning joining us live in the studio. I have Obideyi Olariwaju Lobinko. Good morning, Lobinko. How are you doing today?
Esther, good morning. What was that face for? What exactly was that face for? Okay, good morning. How are you doing today?
Great.
Yeah.
Superbly great. Thank you.
Oh, great.
Okay. So what that face was for was like, hi, Lobinko. Another day for you to drag me, but it's okay. It's all fine.
Okay. Okay.
All right, I'll be starting off with this one.
Let me comment on that.
All right, please, by all
That
means.
kidnapping story. It's quite funny, and this is one reason why we all can't afford to stand on the fence.
Okay.
Like she rightly said, karma would always come to play.
But what if this man here is
Get
innocent?
what I'm saying.
Okay.
When I say karma will come to play, it means for those who see justice, injustice, and do not talk, they are as culpable as those who are doing injustice. I mean, the fact remains it is either of that two for that man. I mean, how vociferous has he been in talking against injustice? If he had been the vociferous type, which is the reason why he's been targeted, then posterity will still judge. What I'm just trying to say is now the situation. Look, I mean, a lot of those who are oppressing us. Why are they oppressing us? They are oppressing us because of their children. I mean, they want to embezzle everything so that their generations unborn would not have to do anything, or probably enslave the generations of unborn of the masses for their children. But we can see how things are changing now. Nigerians, irrespective of the privilege God has given you to occupy, I'm just telling you, be smart, be upright, be sincere to the person who had given you that position.
Yes, Lobinko, everything you've said, valid, because at this point in time in Nigeria, it is either you are speaking or you are not. It is either you are for or against, even if you sit on the fence. Now, look at what happened in Anambra State with the lawmaker representing Aguta 2 constituency. That one is a thing. Then there is this senatorial candidate in Kano State, Abdusalam Abdulkarim Zara, whose mother was kidnapped yesterday. And I'm just wondering what it means now is you just sit in your house and the next someone is barging in and taking one of your loved ones away.
I guess
Somebody said something yesterday at Denike, and I looked at this person like, oh really? This person said, make all these things just the happen, me just the year and make you look on my side. In as much as it sounds like a prayer, But somehow, what about the
It
people?
is actually not a prayer.
No. On the other hand, you might actually sound like a prayer, like you're praying for yourself for protection. But the people that this things has happened to, you just sounded very, very insensitive.
One slogan I use a lot, and those who are close to me knows is the slogan "All for one and one for all." I guess we don't know what it means when we say "all for one and one for all." An injustice to one is actually an injustice to other, because the moment it's done to one and nothing comes out of it, then nobody is safe again. And that's the story we have in Nigeria. We see a lot of people only waiting turns to get their own piece of the cake, and because of that they don't talk. The way, I mean, I've had reasons to relate with a lot of top executives in the ministries, or that are government officials and all of that. And it amazes me, even I'm talking about even people that would ordinarily call themselves clergy. It amazes me that when we are talking about issues of national importance, they only want to talk about it in their rooms. And the fact that they are opinion leaders, if they only lend their voices to this issues ongoing, it probably would have a very great impact. But there's always that thing, I'm a government worker, I'm sorry I can't be seen here. I mean,
well, that's another thing. That's another conversation entirely. All right, let's go back this one on the These Day newspapers. Do well to send us your comments and your contributions as we analyze these issues. 070-317-56537. 070-317-56537. Text and WhatsApp messages only. Now, this one on the These Day newspaper says, NAS moved to settle judges' poor salary suit out of court. In an attempt to resolve amicably the issue of judicial officers' salaries in the country, the National Assembly has sought the permission of the National Industrial Court in Abuja to explore an out-of-court settlement. Now, this is coming after Chief Adeboyega Awolowo is taking, and 33 others taking these people to court to say that Awomolo, I take that again, Chief Adeboyega Awomolo, who took, and other 3 senior advocates had sought to just resolve all of this. And I'm just wondering, in a time like this where we need the judicial arm of the government to be very, very active, we still struggle with things of salaries not being paid or being reviewed. And a part in this report says 14 years. It's been 14 years since the salaries and allowances of judges in the country were last reviewed upward. And I'm just wondering, so many things have happened, the economy, and we still get to pay, or they still get the same amount of money. In this economy that we live in, where people are struggling, this goes to say that if anybody comes around to try to give them something to do some mago on the judgment, for a person who is not upright, the person is going to take this money and just declare judgment in favor of this person who is able to bring up this money. Lobinko, I think at a time like this, we need to be able to do everything possible to ensure that people who have been elected into public offices, judicial officers, are well catered for, because let the politicians speak for themselves at this point. But for judicial officials, we should be able to do something worth the while for them.
And last time I checked, I think the judicial officials, especially I think the judges, their remuneration packages are quite impressive. Last time, as I had, I don't think there's that the judges are ill treated, especially by the government. Anyway, I can't say same about probably the magistrates and the likes. I mean,
no, but they're actually complaining that what they pay them is actually nothing to write home about, as compared to other countries.
Anyway, the bottom line remains, I never want to entertain that argument.
Okay.
The fact that are they being paid well according to Nigeria? What's the minimum wage? The minimum wage is 30,000. So, what's the minimum wage of a lecturer in Nigeria? I think You understand? I mean, a professor in Nigeria earns how much?
Yeah.
Probably less than 1 million naira per month. So if the judges are earning something close to that, they can't complain. Instead of them complaining that they are malnourished, they've been privileged. Probably they should advocate that the country as a whole be revisited, and the remuneration packages should be reviewed, not just for them. Because I hate it when I hear that some people are not well paid. The fact remains, the people that are not even in job is times 4 of people that are in job. When a policeman says they are not well remunerated, that's why they are being miscreants on the roads. That's why then what do you say about someone who has nothing? I mean, we can always advocate, we can always make agitations to have an increase in how much we earn or all of that. But then we should also do it from the angle of appreciation, not from the angle of condemnation.
But when you say appreciation, I'm doing a job, like I am working on something, and I expect to be paid a certain amount of money. But 14 years since the salaries were last reviewed is a lot. A whole lot has happened. If you used to earn maybe 30,000 naira
Did
in
you say 14 years ago is when the judge's salary had last been reviewed?
Yes.
I would not subscribe to that.
Why?
Because I know virtually, even I think the states, at least I know of Lagos State, for instance, they treat their judges very well.
Okay.
And this is probably the same thing for virtually every state.
I beg to disagree.
You can't say that.
You can't say
I
that.
said, probably. I said, this is probably.
Self-generating.
You understand?
Okay.
Look, whatever it is, even if Lagos State is self-generating, it's because the state government admit
Has
that
put in measures for that.
measures for that. So, I know that, I don't know, but I think that most judiciary arm of the different states also have that liberty of generating funds. I mean, generating revenue. I want to believe so, because I don't think that all the revenue generated from our courts are remitted into the coffers of the state government.
Okay.
I don't want to believe so, because of course. But then I'm not against the fact that the judges are asking for more. But I'm just saying that, especially since they are the judges in Nigeria, and they should advocate for Nigeria.
They should advocate for Nigeria.
Yeah.
Even Nigerians are complaining about the 30,000 naira minimum wage.
The minimum wage is actually not 30,000 naira. It's around 10,000, 12,000, 15,000 naira. Yes.
But
Off paper.
off paper.
Yes.
We're talking about on paper.
We should talk about reality. We should talk about reality.
Well, so many things actually be happening, because the average Nigerian out there has totally lost hope in what we would say. So I was speaking to somebody yesterday, and the person was saying, see, let's just talk about these things. We talk about them not because anything is going to change. And I really want Nigerians to change that perception. Lobinko, this is one question I really want to pose to you, because you, for one, you are always big on protect yourself, just do what you can, and just let every other thing be. If we keep allowing every other thing slide, how then are we going to build this Nigerian dream that we want to see?
Had it not been that I love you as a person so much, I should be straying you.
Why?
Because I'm one person who is always advocating that Nigerians be active in Nigeria. I will never talk about build yourself.
No. See, I agree.
What
You say
I would
that,
only say
but
is,
you would
even
say-
if you would give up on Nigeria, don't give up
On yourself. Yeah, but why would you say even if you would give up?
No, listen. Nigeria is a concept. The fact that you are not giving up on yourself means you make yourself a beacon of hope to others. That is the meaning of not giving up on
So
yourself.
it is clearer now.
Yeah, and I mean, it's ought to have been clearer. That's what I've always said. And if every one of us can live to continuously be a beacon of hope, irrespective of the fact that we're disappointed in Nigeria, the answer is yes. Is there anybody not disappointed in Nigeria now? The answer is a big no.
But you can't speak for everybody.
I can speak for 90% of the people.
But you know, so we just said there's some people sitting on the fence.
That's why I said 90%. And when
you're saying it's just 10%
even those on the
90%
fence,
is a lot.
and even those on the fence,
Okay.
I am telling you, they are affected. Well,
But they still want to keep the fence.
fence or no fence, it doesn't change the fact that you are happy or you are not happy. It doesn't change the fact that you are affected or you are not affected. We are all affected. Even the president, as high as he is, he's affected. The fact that he opens the dailies and he sees that a church was entered into, it gives him a headache. So we are all affected. But I am saying, as individuals, stay as a beacon of hope. Don't allow everything happening weigh you down. You can give up on Nigeria as a contest, but don't give up on yourself.
Do not
always
give up on Nigeria.
Always be that person the next person sees and says, oh, if this guy can still live through these hard times, then I have no reason to give up.
Then again, I'm still going to say it that do not give up on Nigeria, because
I have. It's my opinion.
Lubinko, please be patriotic and be civil with your comments.
Congratulations.
Lubinko, why? Okay, all right. It is 8 minutes to 8 on Women Radio WFM 91.7, and this is the newspaper review. The newspaper review is where we get to review the dailies and analyze them with our analyst. Our analyst for the morning is Obudeyi Olarewaju Lubinko. My name is Esther Laribe, and I have with me Adenike Quadri. Yes, and we're going through the dailies across different Nigerian newspapers. As we get to analyze these issues, or you have comments you want to share with us, you can send them to 070-317-56537 via text or WhatsApp message 070-317-56537. Yes, Adenike, on the Owo massacre.
And it's such a preposterous deed, if you would ask me. Now the headline says survivors, victims, families grown as Christian Association of Nigeria and Nigeria Governors Forum protests. So the whole case of, okay, with the situation of Nigeria today, and people are looking for something that would at least be a beacon of hope. Then going to a religious center, hoping that, okay, maybe I can pour out my heart to God, and then from there you meet the ultimate death or disaster, as it were. You know, it's rather heart-wrenching to see that some families have to go through this, and time and over again. We keep saying and recycling the same stories. Oh, this is happening here and there. And like the person you said earlier that said to you that, oh, thank God.
It's not happening. Don't let it come to, yes.
You know, when I was a child, my dad told me this story, and it's not a story I would ever forget, and forever.
You want to pass it on?
Yes, to multiple generations. You know, he said, you don't ever say something is not your business. And the story goes thus. He says, in the animal kingdom, they told all the animals to pray that the king's daughter went to the river to have a bath and was bitten by a snake. So they told the animal kingdom, pray so that the princess doesn't die. And then the cow, the goats, and the chicken particularly said, oh, what business do we have with humans? They are humans, we're animals, so the princess can die. So eventually the princess died. And there's this thing in Yoruba, they call it Irano.
The princess died. They needed to cook pepper soup.
So what's Irano?
You know, I think it's an ancient Yoruba culture where they say they do prayers for the dead, and then they do this chicken. I think I see it in some Igbo movies as well.
Okay.
So they said the chicken was killed at that time.
Okay. Because the chicken
do that.
Pray. Okay.
So he said then when they were going to do 7 days fidal prayer or something, he said the goat was killed.
At the end of the day,
and then
his business.
When time came for the burial,
the cow
was killed. And he said, so you see that
More of the
what
story. It
was
was
not
business.
their business now became ultimately their
All
business.
for one.
Just as he said, all for one and one for all. So you don't say that because this thing is not happening in your neighborhood or where you can see, it's not your
It doesn't
business.
concern you.
Because first of all, these people are Nigerians. Then they are humans, most importantly. So we should always try to live beyond self and see how we can invest into the life of the next person. Because if you think yours is to, everybody have things they are going through.
Definitely.
So you could take the extra step to do something for someone. So even if it's a word of prayer, so maybe that's just my word to that kind of person that says such a thing, that if it's a prayer of comfort, that God comfort, because it starts with empathy, putting yourselves in the shoes of these people. So it could happen to anyone. The fact that it didn't come to you does not mean that you have one special
You know, it's
thing about you.
it's I still can't wrap that story around my head. And the fact remains, for you to achieve anything in life, the first thing, the first qualification you need to be an achiever in life is psychological balance. And Nigerian psychologically balanced now. Yesterday I was at this buka where I went to eat my amala, and you know, while eating I just noticed one very young boy, coincidentally from the northern extraction.
Okay.
He sat down, and you know, I looked around me. Okay, he's the only one. I sat down, and then I engaged him. What are you doing? I mean, I was almost eating. I only saw him looking at his phone, and excuse me, did this man come and eat? That's a psychological torture for me. You know why? Because I'm scared.
Transparency concepts.
Exactly. So whether we like it or not, we are all affected.
But Lubinko, you see this particular one you just raised. I don't want us as a society to go about with the notion that people from a particular
No, it's not about people from a particular region now.
Yes.
I'm just saying.
That
Look,
just
I
seeing
was
anybody just
aside
around.
like when you see people that are idle, not doing anything.
You're worried.
Unfortunately, don't be surprised. Such person might even be under a lot of pressure themselves, and they're just coming there to chill out. You understand? I mean, I was at a gathering again on Sunday. Now it's not even. And I made sure I sat close to the door, and the moment dusk was coming down, I left the place.
But why are you sitting close to the door, Lubinko? Do you want to tell us more? Why?
I'm being careful.
He's
now.
trying to escape.
I'm being
So if everybody gets to sit at the door,
No, I mean, I'm the one that has. I'm telling you the psychological trauma. All of these things are having on me now. I mean, so we all are affected, and that's why I would say let's be more security conscious, please.
all right. So still on this issue that's happened in Owo. So members of the Ondo State chapter of the Christian Association of Nigeria had taken to the street yesterday to protest these killings, and they were also visited by the Nigerian Governors Forum, where the chairman, who is the governor of Ekiti State, Dr. Kayode Fayemi, disclosed to the Bishop of Catholic Diocese in Ondo that the attack was sponsored. When I read that part, I was like, attack was sponsored. So I tend to just tell myself that I look at people from my own point of view as I would not want to hurt anybody for any reason. I don't want to inflict pain on people.
Stop looking at people from that.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Like in times that we live in now, our eyes are opening to the fact that not
because of the times you're living. Never, ever.
because I really don't want to. I don't want to get to that point where I actually believe that someone would intentionally take other people's life.
There are people like that.
Always be like my mantra from when I was in nursery school was, you don't have my trust until you've earned it. And
What do you think
I'm
that?
not distrusting you
Okay,
until you've betrayed my trust. So what I'm trying to tell
when
you,
you're not even trusting the person in the first place.
that is what I'm telling you. Be indifferent. Be at alert. You understand? People should prove who they are to you.
But don't you think that doing that would have like you walking on eggshells around people because you're just going to be very, very touchy and don't want to?
Talk
I don't
about the
know.
most careful person in the world. I think my friends will tell me the only problem you have is because you don't have problem. And you see me, I exhibit it when I come into the studio. I have no problem. No eggshells.
This one here saying that the attack was sponsored. I'm just wondering, yes, elections are around the corners, but if anybody in any corner is trying to sponsor things like this or attacks like this, I'm just wondering why.
It is definitely sponsored. And, you know, some people, like you asked why, are benefiting
From people's death.
From me, yes, from me. The benefits might not even be in terms of money. It can be in terms of opinion, aggrandizement, or satiation of their beliefs. You understand? At least we see people who kill, believing they are fighting for God, and they believe they have a very great reward. You understand what I mean? So it's the bottom line is just it is intentional. If you look at how it happened, and it could only have been sponsored. To what purpose? For what reason? Only God knows. But as humans, we can also make permutations. It was in a church. It was a kind of special service. I mean, it could only have been intentional. And why? It could only have been intentional. Nothing. I mean, it's sponsored. Definitely. It's sponsored. But there was a news that was going around that one of them was caught. How true is that?
I don't think that's true. I saw that video you were talking about. So
police guy.
Yes, I saw the video, but some people have come out to say no, that video did not even happen in Nigeria at all. So,
okay.
And another thing is when things like this happen, people need to verify before they just post anything on social media.
I don't know our excitement.
Like we just see things, we don't want to confirm or verify where the video is coming from. Yeah, posting on social media with different kind of captions.
Not even people that are forwarding now. What's in the head of those that generate those rumors intentionally? Something happens, they just go back to a picture of 15 years ago.
And they'll just bring it back and they start saying so many things. No, Nigerians need to be careful at this time. You don't go about trying to incite people or cause people to worry just because you want to post something on your page or you want some kind of traffic to your page. Nigerians really need to be careful.
The bloggers, this thing is mostly by the bloggers. And the rationale behind it is
driving traffic to their page.
Just so you click. I mean, it's high time those guys are regulated. They really need to be regulated.
People on their personal pages.
When we talk about, most of the times, this news gets to be spread by bloggers. You see, if you see news, an information on your social media, and it's having no accreditation, but the moment you see it's having a link, Portal News Kinicom, you understand. Now, whether we like it or not, as people, we are still very
people don't want to put in the work to check to be sure.
We are still very docile as a people. We're not even enlightened as a people. When we look at the ratio of enlightened people in Nigeria, it's less than 5%. So it becomes a very Herculean task for even that bracket to correct that. Before you know it,
all right, let's take some of your messages we have here. Keep them coming in on 070-317-56537, 070-317-56537. Text and WhatsApp messages only. This one says, good morning, my name is Abiola from Ikeja. Good morning, WFM and our analysts. Good morning to you, Abiola.
Good morning, Abiola.
Yes. The judges should know that they are not the only ones complaining. Even ASU is complaining. The way the attack was carried out shows it was sponsored by some contracted killers. The government said they came from Mali and trained in Libya. All efforts now to arrest them and kill them. All efforts now should be to arrest and kill them. Amoteco and the local vigilante must be funded more to penetrate the forest. Just reading somewhere that just yesterday 50 people died in our Ondo church attack and several others. You can imagine what the international communities think about us now. Yes, Lobinko, talking about Amotekun and them to make sure they are well equipped, because this is like they know the community better, they know the people. For some, for like let's take for example the community vigilante. To an extent, they know people that live in certain communities. So I remember this particular experience back in school. I don't know if some other person out there back in school went through the same thing. So I went to a function, and for some reason I did not leave on time. It did not even occur to me that, oh, these people would have been out already. I don't know what they call to kiri bread. They call it kiri bread, meaning that you're going to hot bread. That day, I was outside up until 4 a.m. before they allowed me go. And they did not just allow me go, they walked me to my house to be sure that I actually live there. I had to call somebody from the house to come outside to be sure that, yes, this person actually lives here. And you can imagine, if we can actually have people who are actually very, very dedicated to doing the job and will do their checks to be sure that this face, I do not know you, where do you live, who are you staying with? Let's do all of the checks. But we don't have that anymore. People just want to work for money.
Nigerians need to go digital. Beyond this identification you're talking about, it definitely might be difficult. It's a Sunday. People from, you can't take it away that there would always be new faces in every environment. The only reason there won't be new faces in an environment is because the environment is dead or is not active, it's not happening. Any happening environment, there would always be new faces. What's our government doing?
But no, before we talk about our government, you know, I always speak about point figures and government.
Hold on. Okay. It's very simple. We have local governments. These are projects that could be, you understand? Do you know the fact that there's CCTV somewhere, and you know there's CCTV makes you cautious? On this street, on this our road,
okay,
a 3-kilometer road, I'm very sure that just 20 CCTV cameras will do the job of surveilling this road.
And people will act accordingly.
Just 20, you understand? Just strategically placed will cover this road. Do you agree to that?
Well, yes.
So now
but it still goes back to intention.
We are still saying the same thing. The fact remains that reduces intentions, guys. That if there had been CCTV at the entrance of that church, for instance, faces would have been captured. Because according to eyewitnesses, these guys were not even masked.
Yes, I read some reports that said that.
At the point of unleashing their blame,
you definitely would not wait to
catch out.
Looks like
I mean, first to install CCTV. How much?
CCTV should be everywhere.
That means they only attack where we have people.
Okay.
So wherever we know that there's traffic of people, there's nothing bad
in having one or two there.
There's nothing conscious of. The satellite is only for tracking them, not for monitoring them.
Lobinko, don't forget that at the end of the day, even if you get all of the CCTV footages you want to get, it still needs human beings with deliberate intention to still carry out whatever needs to be followed up or get justice. Don't forget.
Don't forget that in America, one of the most secure countries in the world, we've heard of shootings in recent times. We're not saying it's not going to happen. We're only saying it's going to be limited. And we're only saying that when it happens, the perpetrators can easily be nabbed. For all of those things, now, for all the killings we have in Nigeria, is anybody being arrested? The answer is no. But for all the ones that are happening outside the country, are they being nabbed? The answer is yes. What's the difference? The only difference is that surveillance mechanism already on ground.
So you're saying now that that is something we should begin to look.
There's nothing that stops a local government. I'm not even putting it on the governor now, of course, but a local government that is responsible in meeting with the CDs of each local government.
Okay.
How much is it? CCTVs are not so cheap. I think there are some they sell for as little as 10,000. You know, that you
Just
can
place
monitor
them in
on your
strategic
phone.
places.
So what are we talking about?
All right, we have more messages here. This one is from Adeshina Wasiu, and this one says, top of the morning to you in the studio on our church attack. It is unfortunate that we read about this attack in other places, but it is coming home now. And I advise to the Southwest governors, they need to equip Amotekun now more than ever, because these criminals do this in other places and get away with it. So we must use everything possible to stop this, because the Attorney General of the Federation refused to name the 400 terrorist suspects he told Nigerians about. All right. So you see this particular one here, when we say name terrorists, some leaders will come out to say, oh yes, they have details on the terrorists. Name them? No. Do something about them? No. And I'm just wondering, why tell us if you know you will not follow suit and do the needful, Lobinko?
The reason is simple. They know we are very docile as a people. It's funny, the donations that had been going on in our leaders think we can be bought anyhow. I mean,
yeah, I read some reports this morning to some people sending in donations and funds to help them.
I mean, yes, they need help,
but the trauma,
but the fact remains,
it has happened.
These are things that could be prevented with good leadership. These are things that could be prevented with good leadership. The fact that something keeps happening and happening and happening, and we can't pin one person, is failed leadership. If we can't pin the perpetrator, then we pin the leadership. Somebody, for every act, somebody must be responsible. Somebody must be made responsible for it. That is the only way any sane society can grow.
All right. Thank you, Lobinko.
All this unknown gunmen needs to stop.
Agreed.
What's the title? Unknown.
Yes, unknown gunmen, that's what they attacked. It is 14 minutes past 8 on Your Women Radio WFM 91.7, and this is the newspaper review. The newspaper review is where we get to analyze the dailies across different Nigerian newspapers. My name is Esther Larebe, and I have with me Adenike Kodri and our analyst for the morning, Obideyi Olarinwaju Lubinko. And we've been analyzing different issues across different Nigerian newspapers. Do well to send us your comments. Keep them coming in on 070-317-56537. 070-317-56537. This message here is from P. Dasa in Ogun State, and this one says, good morning, my dear news crew. Good morning to you. It is known to the serious-minded that this present regime, which is predominantly dominated by a particular ethnic group, would not hand over to another section of the country until their agenda is please be safe. Try as much as possible to be patriotic with your comments. He also went ahead to mention something in this part here where he says, even the Muslim cleric Gumi has stated that if 1 million jets are given to Nnamdi Kanu and deployed to fight the Fulanis, that the Fulanis will never be defeated. What does this imply? Is a word not enough for the wise? Attributing the killings act or war on the state to bandits or terrorists is simply a cover-up for the fear of people in power. Another message here, this one is from Molisho Gajayi in Ikorodu, and this one says, what is happening with the APC convention is not surprising at all. The confusion is exactly the same way they have handled Nigeria in the in the past 7 years. Nigerians deserve something better. In capital letter, we have really suffered. We need to do something right this time. We need to try another path for once. This one is from Lawa Additional in Lagos. It says, the terrorists that went to our church are animals. I don't know why they derive joy in killing innocent people. I believe they are the same people that went to the mosque in Kogi. Sad story. This one here is from Mosenjem meeting in Lakbere, and this one says, imagine the National Assembly that is mediating between federal government and ASUM. It's the same body that our workers are going on strike for being owed unpaid salaries. Same set of people will return to the House in this incoming elections because the electorates are voting them in as bad as they are. And the circle continues. Nigerian electorates should know that the moment they collect money from politicians to perform their civic rights, that is when the politicians' guilty conscience just die and God stop listening to the people. Politicians donating to victims of the Owo massacre are not doing so for humanity's sake at all. Nigerians need to know this, but for their own selfish interest and vote sympathy in the 2023 general elections. I hope the Nigerian electorates will be wise enough to know that they were the reasons why we are languishing in this unending and vote wisely in the coming elections. All right. Another message here is from Chuks in Ikeja, and this one says, still on this air Nigerian of a thing, it is either that the current administration does not have good economic team or that the administration does not listen or take advice in good faith. Otherwise, why is the government planning to share the funds borrowed from China in the name of floating another jamboree called Air Nigeria? I, for one, know that this fund could have been channeled towards at least ending the ASO strike for good. I will not in good faith spend money throwing around parties while my children are hungry and out of school for lack of resources. Additional Wasini Korodu says, on APC primaries, why is President Muhammadu Buhari always waiting till things get worse? Imagine the statements accredited to the APC national chairman that Ahmed Lawa is the consensus candidate, if not for the swift move by the APC northern governor who quickly briefed the press and doused the tension. Hope this is not how he intends to run the day-to-day activities of the country. All right, another message here from Abiola says, the satellite Nigeria may have in space has nothing to show, just images. All it just does is weather forecast. The Olowo of Owo King Palace is just 300 meters away from the Catholic Church, but he's supposed to hear the gunshots now. Lubinko, even if he had heard the gunshots, what could he have possibly done?
The best anybody hearing gunshots can do is take cover. And I think Nigerians, we also need to educate ourselves when there are gunshots, especially when it's still not close to us or directly in our face. The way to avoid such scenario is not to run right or left. It's for you to go down and then crawl. The reason is the direction of bullets, of the pellets, would in most cases be going straight, not down. So security tip free. I hope WFM pays me for that.
I know that. I was going to say that. I know that. Thank you.
I'm
Thank
the
you.
one that said it.
I know that. I know that. I know that. Thank you, Lubinko. Not to ruffle your feathers, but I know that. All right, this one is coming from El Kennedy Victor, and it says, hi, WFM. Hi, El Kennedy. The killing in Ondo Church is a clear indication of what I have been saying for years. According to the chief security officer of the state, the killings is a sponsored killing by our countrymen. If it's in the East now, we'll say it's ESN. Now we know better. You see, okay, so a school of thought opines that when all of this whole issue around banditry, terrorism started off, that we did not nip it in the bud, that people just felt that, okay, it is happening in the north, let it stay in the north. Now it is happening in the southeast. People are beginning to talk about it. People are raising concerns. Now it is coming down to the southwest. Total unrest. Lubinko, do you agree with this school of thought that opines that if we had been proactive enough to nip it to the bud when it started off, we would not be where we are?
Totally.
You agree?
Totally. You see, the fact, what's causing this unrest, especially in this part, is not yet the memo. The men is still not on last scale. But we have, for those who are sensitive, and this is something we've been talking about for a very long time. I once told you about this should be about 6 or 7 years ago. I was driving, and funny enough, I think I was coming from Ibadan that day into Lagos. I noticed the trailer, but how it kept passing all the checks on, and it also passed Alausa to whatever destination it is going. It had no plate number. There were youths inside it with different kinds of ammunition, sword. I tried calling, then I had the number of the then CP. I tried calling him, I didn't get through. And then I had to make some calls. I mean, the scare is profiled people would hardly commit crimes. But unprofiled people, even if they don't want to commit crime, they've already been given the passage to. I was telling someone recently, Okada ban is not a necessity because it is a very great means of salvaging a problem. The problem we have with Okada is the unprofiling of those riding it.
Okay, so you're saying if we have like
Everybody was profiled.
Okay.
It's very simple. It's very simple. I'm talking of real profiling.
But what about their actions on the road?
You say what?
Their actions on the road, the way they just
The
go about
remains the moment you see the moments you know that you have authority.
that you can be held accountable. Okay.
Everybody is reckless by nature.
Not everybody's reckless.
No, see, we are refined. That's why we are called animals. We only get refined. The difference between different human beings is the level of
Exposure.
refinery they've had. And little things refine us. A boy comes from the village for the first time to Lagos. He goes back and he starts batting. It's a kind of refine. And before you know, you see, little things, very little things, is what makes the world to get refined. But these guys, I mean, they have no house. They sleep everywhere.
Anyway,
They are time bomb. It's not about okay, now let's leave those guys.
okay.
Let's talk about when we talk about Agberos. Why are they called Agberos? The reason is because most of the time they are believed to sleep under the bridge and they can't be traced. If anything happens. And really, whenever anything happens, they take. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, just go and you can't trace them.
You can't trace them until they see that everywhere is calm and they come back.
Come back. All right. Thank you very much for that, Lubinko. Yes, Adenike, still on the Owo massacre.
Yeah, Atiku slams APC, says ruling party died in Abuja while innocent worshippers died in Owo.
What was Atiku himself doing?
He says
Let's go through the report.
presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, yesterday took a swipe at the ruling All APC's party when he accused leaders of the ruling party of gathering. He accused rulers of the ruling party of gathering in Abuja to treat themselves with a sumptuous dinner in the name of meeting while innocent worshippers died in Owo Ondo State. I mean, he's calling Nigerians to stand with him to...
Just see that part. This second line here where he goes ahead to say, he's calling on Nigerians to stand with him as volunteers to reclaim the country from the challenges currently befalling it. So there are two sides to it.
He's trying to say that.
No, on one side, it says, look at what your government is doing. You cannot hold your government accountable. Join me, let us vote this government. Let's vote this government out. On this other side, it is a thing of, now let me remind you. So Nigerians on social media, remember the case of the Deborah Yakubu who was burnt and a tweet came from Atiku's page and was later taken down. So people are now saying, people on this particular one, I've seen comments like, oh, on one side he wants us to stand with him to vote out this government. On the other hand, when something happened, we saw your stand on it. So two wrongs don't make it right. So, I mean, they're still in the same caucus.
I mean, you see, Nigerians, you just need to smarten up. And yes, let the verbal altercations continue on the social media. But beyond the social media, bring it to the streets. Intelligent altercations, sound arguments,
Sound conversations.
sound conversations. APC leaders were somewhere dining
and whining.
Where was he that same day? Okay, he was running. He was on his way to a war because he had got intelligence that will happen, just to stop it, right?
Well, this is all we can take on the newspaper review.
Of course, that's acting. I mean, and unfortunately, it grates. Oh God.
This is all we can take on the newspaper review this morning. Thank you so much, Lobinko, for joining us live in the studio this morning.
Always my pleasure.
Thank you. All right. Thank you so much, Adinike, for joining me this morning.
Thank you.
Yes. This is what we call it a wrap on the newspaper review this morning. Thank you so much for taking time to join us. Thank you for your messages. Thank you for sending in your text and WhatsApp messages. Do well to join us again tomorrow at 7:30 on the newspaper review. And I'd like to mention that we do not take calls on the newspaper review. Calls on the newspaper review. Up next is Panorama at 9:05. Join us as the ladies from different geopolitical zones come together to discuss, dissect, and disagree on topical issues at 9:05. My name is Esther Alaribe, and please do have a lovely day. Be security conscious and be kind in your words and actions.
Have you been a victim of corruption? Do you want to report how corruption affects you and your community?